Right back for an enticing week 13. We got Thursday games, we got Friday game, we got Sunday games, we got Monday games. This is the odds couple. Let's kick it off, Christina.
Yay! So last week I went 2-2. I would have gone 3-2 had Minnesota did what they were supposed to do and covered against the Bears like the last minute and a half, 90 seconds, and they let them tie the game.
Listen, it's all balance because there's no way in hell you should have hit the over on Washington's game, okay? I'm just gonna say. 8 million points in the fourth quarter. Who called that one? Nobody.
That is true. That is true. So, and you went 2-2 as well?
I did go 2-2. I had a couple of overs with Arizona, and they did not do that. And I had Indy game over that did not hit. However, my Tampa Bay going with my motto of anybody that plays the Giants, you just go ahead and bet. And that was my theory, and it worked out well last week.
Well, that leads us to week today. Thanksgiving game, Giants at the Cowboys. I say because the Giants are trying to be a bigger dumpster fire than the Jets. They're trying to be like, who's going to be the bigger mess in New York? I'm going to take the Cowboys -3. They're at home. Mike McCarthy is literally trying to hold on to his job. The Giants, they don't know. They got rid of they traded their starting quarterback for Danny DeVito. Not Danny DeVito, but you know what I'm talking about.
Danny DeVito.
I mean, it's a mess. And they look it, and the whole team is like, I don't know why we let our best quarterback go, which is sad that Daniel Jones was their best quarterback, but he was. And so it is a mess. So what are you going to do?
Yeah, I think even as bad as Dallas defense is, I still don't know that DeVito's even going to have a chance. And so I also went with you on that. I was picking the Cowboys. They are at home. They look pretty good. I mean, better last week. That game they played pretty well, I thought. But nonetheless, I think it's two pretty bad teams right now. Granted, Dallas is kind of beat up, but I think, I think they're going to make a run for it and get a win.
Yeah, I think so too. Giants are pretty bad, and I think Dallas can take over at least
and
points.
Giants may even be quit. Yeah, they may be quitting too, right? I mean, I saw there was a comment about neighbors in there and calling out everybody, and like that was like, and all the media was like, that's potentially the worst game of the year, effort wise. So,
what about your number 2 pick? What's your number 2 pick?
My number 2, I'm going to stay with the Bucks. They're hot. I'm going to keep running with them. They're at Carolina. Carolina played a much better game against Kansas City in Kansas City. I think it was last week. Kansas City's kind of hit or miss, right? Hot or cold, right? But they're winning. I know you don't like that, but Kansas City just keeps on winning. So, but in this game, I'm going to take Tampa -5.5 at Carolina. Also, because we don't really know what weather's going to be doing up in the Northeast, I'm staying away from unknowns at this time of what weather's going to be. So I'm going to stay in the warmer Carolina. I'm going to take Tampa -5.5.
All right. Well, I'm sticking with Thanksgiving Day. Bears at the Lions. They'll be playing in a dome. Sorry. Caleb.
The way you just pushed the dog away, it looked like it was flying in the air.
Can you still hear him? My dogs? Okay. Stop.
No, it was perfect when you threw him. He just looked like he came out of nowhere on my screen and just went flying across. Like, I know you didn't throw him very far, but it looked like he was super dog.
I'm going to stick with the Bears, the Lions. They're playing in a dome, so weather should not be a factor. Bears have been looking better. They've not been winning, but they haven't been blown out and it's a divisional game, so I think they want to play him tough. Caleb Williams has something to prove, and that coach is also trying to keep his job, even though we all believe he won't be back. And then Detroit, 10 points is a lot. I say Detroit wins by a touchdown. I don't think I'd take 10, not in this game. If it were another team and not a divisional team, I probably would say they would cover. But I'm going to say Bears lose, but they keep it close.
I would agree, and here's my thoughts. Bears have not lost many games by very many points. In fact, most of them, they've choked it away, right? We talked about that last week, like the Facebook of 1 in 16 million or something crazy is the games that they've lost combined, right? So I like that. I think they keep them close.
The football gods apparently do not like the Bears. They've done something sometime, some way since 1985, and the football gods haven't liked the Bears since 1985.
Yeah, the old McMahon days and the Super Bowl shuffle, baby. William the Fridge Perry. Oh man, I'm old. I'm calling out the names now. All right, my third pick, I'm going 49ers Bills over 44.5. Purdy's coming back. They got McCaffrey back. I feel like they've kind of just looked like dung the last 3 weeks. Granted, they have a lot of injuries. Debo has done squat this year, as you well know, from your fantasy football star player. Gotten you very little points this year.
I think he's had one game that he's had decent points.
So I think maybe they right the ship. I think this could be an important game. Like if they tank again this week, they might be in trouble, like big trouble. So I think they're going to show up like Baltimore did last week. I kind of called that last week. I thought Baltimore would probably not lose 2-3 in a row. So I said, I think this is the same thing with the Niners. I think they're going to come out. They're going to play well. And I think the Bills always score points. So I think it's a shootout over 44.5.
I think you're probably correct on that. Steelers at the Bengals, division rivalry. So I'm actually going to take the over of 47.5 on this one. I think regardless of the weather, these two teams are used to bad weather, so they can score in just about anything. So I don't think weather will be a factor for them unless it's like a blizzard. But they still scored a lot of points when it was Cleveland and Pittsburgh last Thursday night. It was the blizzard game, but they still scored points. They scored touchdowns. I was actually rather shocked. And Burrow is excellent. I don't think that they can contain him well through the whole entire game. We'll see. Pittsburgh is pretty good. I think Pittsburgh gets a couple defensive scores as well. So I'm going to take the over, and I'm going to stay away from the point total on that one. I'll leave it alone. It's divisional. They like to beat up on each other in that division, so...
Agreed. I'm going to go look at Buffalo real quick because I said I wasn't going to take any cold weather games, and I took the over there. So let me see if I want to make a change on my over based on weather.
Playing in San Francisco, aren't they?
Are they? Okay, maybe. I thought they were playing in Buffalo.
San Francisco, or are they playing in Buffalo? No, you're right. They're playing in Buffalo.
Okay, so now I go look at Buffalo. Buffalo, is that a Sunday game? I believe it is. It's 33 degrees. It looks like it's dry, so I'm going to stick with the over. It's just going to be cold as, you know what. We'll see if San Francisco can play in the cold.
Well, it's cold in San Francisco, just not Buffalo cold.
Exactly. All right, for my fourth pick, I'm going with, man, it's going to be a great game, I think, honestly. I think this is the Sunday night game. Eagles +3 at Baltimore. Baltimore looked sharp. They finally leaned into Henry a little bit on a handful of drives there, really got some momentum going, which is why I think they lost their previous games. I think we talked about that last week as well. They kind of got off the Henry train. Henry had a good game. I don't know if he busted 100, but I think he did. And Lamar, you know, if you got a Henry running the ball and you got Lamar that can then kick off and run around and do his thing, I think that's a good deal there. But I'm talking about the Eagles. I think the Eagles are on a roll. They've won a handful of games. I think they look dominant. It is in Baltimore, so that scares me a little bit, but I feel like 3 points. I think it's going to be a 1 or 2 point game if you ask me. So I'm going to take the 3 points and ride the Eagles.
Are you? You know Lamar's record against the NFC?
We'll see. We'll see. This might be when the Eagles usually do their swoon. I guess last year they went into like they couldn't win a game to save their life. So we'll see.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Eagles, it will be a close game. I don't know. I just know that only 2 teams they play that the Ravens play differently, that they lose their identity, and that's the Steelers and the Chiefs. Lamar does not have a good record against the Steelers, his rating against them, but against every other team, it's like 100 and whatever percent. And Lamar's record, I guess, against the NFC, he's only lost once in like 12 times.
I don't care if the Eagles win. I just want them to lose by less than 3.
Okay. You might push. It might be a push too. So
it might be a push. That's true. That will make our bets interesting.
Yes.
Or our end of year score, because right now we're still tied. We both went 2-2.
Yeah. So Seahawks and Jets is going to be my final pick. I'm going to take the Seahawks -2, because the Jets also want to be the biggest dumpster fire in New York. You got Aaron Rodgers still talking about, is he coming back? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I retire. Maybe I don't come back. Maybe I do come back. And it's like, dude, just play. The whole defense seems to have quit because they used to be really good. Now,
Yep.
They've lost some very winnable games for them. They're just not showing up. They don't seem to care. It's become a mess. Karen Rodgers is being an absolute Karen. He needs to talk to someone's manager all the time. So I'm going to take the Seahawks -2. I think they're starting to peak. They play really good defense. They've got some great wide receivers. Geno Smith probably wants to beat the Jets since they let him go. So
I agree. Yeah, I think it'll be interesting because, could you imagine being a New York football fan right now? Like, literally put yourself in it's almost like being a Las Vegas Raiders fan, but but you have 2 teams.
Yeah, both of them. Because before people would say, "Oh, the Giants are very, very well run." I'm like, are they? Like this year? Let's bench our quarterback in the middle of the season. Then that quarterback's like, I want to be released, and they release it in the middle of the season. Like, I've never seen that before. And no one to back up.
Yeah, I think it was just because of the guarantee money, from what I heard, right? They wanted to cut it off, so he lost some of the dividends that they would have had to pay out. However, I know that's why the team's in revolt, right? Their team is like, at least you want to try to win some games for the rest of the year. But when you put money, again, this is just some people's opinion, when you put money before the team, which I understand as a business owner, you got to find that balance. And
for like a standpoint, there's only maybe 2 really good quarterbacks. I mean, no one really knows, but it's not like one of these highly sought after classes of QBs, not like last year and like 4 years ago.
Right.
But like this year, I think, what is it? Shadur Sanders, Cam Ward, people still have questions on. I think Cam Ward will be good. He's older, so I think he'll translate if he gets with the right team. Going to someone like, I don't know, the Jets.
Giants.
or the Giants, maybe like the kiss of death.
Cleveland.
Any of these guys. Cleveland Ken Stefanski is actually a pretty decent coach. The ownership, though, of Cleveland, I don't know. Jameis Winston is the happiest dude ever. Have you listened to some of his stuff?
I know. Like, what is up with that? I didn't used to like the guy, and now I do.
No?
Yeah, I kind of like him now. He's just like this chucklehead guy out there. It's awesome.
Well, Cleveland is looking better on offense with Deshaun Watson.
Go figure.
And then, yeah, that's it. So those are our picks. But what do you think about the playoffs for college? It's gotten...
Yeah, I didn't end up watching Tuesday night's ESPN because I was out smoking a cigar, having a beer, and it wasn't on TV. So I don't know how that rolled out. However, I'm curious.
So they put Alabama at 13. So they're like on the outside.
Oh, they're on the outside looking in.
Yeah. But they got rolled. Like they should be further down. I
agree.
Tennessee and SMU are back in, if I remember correctly from looking at it. It moved to Ohio State not playing Boise. It was someone else. I can't remember who now.
Yeah, I was trying to see if it was on my app, but I don't see the projections on my app. So I just see the rankings, which doesn't tell me everything.
Let me see if I can find it.
Oh, wait, there's playoff rankings. Oregon's 1, Ohio State's 2, Texas 3, Penn State 4, Notre Dame 5, Miami 6, Georgia 7, Tennessee 8, SMU 9, Indiana 10, Boise State 11, Clemson 12, Alabama 13, Ole Miss 14. I don't know who's playing who, but...
Yeah, it's gotten kind of like how bad Alabama lost. I don't know why they're so much higher than.
I would have pushed Arizona State higher. I mean, honestly, granted they have 2 losses, but.
Well, yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of other teams with 2 losses, but Alabama, I get that they're the SEC, but it's not St. Nick anymore. So, different coach. They lost some of their top players who are now playing for Ohio State, by the way. On defense, Caleb Downs was Alabama last year, is now on Ohio State. And it just, there is because it's Alabama that they are getting benefit of the doubt and could sneak in if some of these other teams falter. Like if Tennessee were to drop their last game, if Miami dropped another game, I think they would be first one out because their defense is so.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, because they have Miami at 6. And they won last week, but it wasn't, they still let people score.
What do you think about your Ohio State-Michigan matchup?
I am very excited for it. I am not going to look at the numbers because I know Ohio State's a big favorite, but it is the biggest rivalry in all of sports. I'm just going to go and enjoy it, and hopefully the world will be back correctly where Ohio State kicks their ass. All is right with the world again.
You want to take a side bet with me? I'll take Michigan plus 20.5.
Is it up to 20?
20.5.
It was 13 before. It's up to 20. That's a big one. No, I'm not taking any bets on that. I'm just going to go enjoy the game because that rivalry, anything can happen.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, Michigan is not very good, but like you said, rivalry games. That's their Super Bowl. It's
literally, you can have the shittiest year, but as long as you beat that other team, it's a great year.
And then you got another big game that night is Texas and Texas A&M. That'll be another biggie. So that's 2 teams that are in the at least the playoff rankings,
Texas
top 25.
So they're number 20.
Yeah. They fell. Yeah, they totally hosed me. I might have put a little bit of money on that game, and they just stuck it right in me. We talked about that, and it wasn't a very pleasant feeling.
No, it was. I was like, I didn't bet on that game. I had the over in the Alabama game, and I was like, are you effing kidding me? They couldn't score more than 3 points. And then when they did score a touchdown, they took it away from them, and they went over. Even the announcers were like, that's not a penalty, and I don't know why they called it a penalty. And I was like,
Need to go do your mountain hike and do your mantra on the mountain.
What's that one for Bad Boys? Woosah, woosah. I had a woosah a lot. I was like, could they just score so I could get my over? I had the over because I had the over in the Notre Dame game, and that one hit. I think Notre Dame hit the over by themselves.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They totally rolled Army. Poor Army. It started off pretty good, and then it just went down.
I think we both had the over on that. Yeah, but we both took that one, so that was a pretty solid pick there.
Yeah, I took the over in that. I go both these teams can score, but Notre Dame looked pretty solid. This is where you could see the teams that should be ranked in the top 10 and the other ones that are like, yeah we've got a good team. We're really not playing top tier.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's good for the caliber of their equivalent competition, if I can say it that way, but not the elite schools.
Right, because, I mean, that was like that with Ohio State and Indiana last week, where it started off, Indiana drove down and it was fine. And then all of a sudden it was all Ohio State. And if Ohio State didn't do a couple of blunders, that score would have been probably like 45.
Yeah, that was interesting. The momentum really changed when their punter for Indiana snafu'd that snap right back to them. And that was like right before half or in the end of the first quarter. I don't remember when it was, but then all of a sudden Ohio State took that and never looked back.
They actually showed if you took out that first drive and then the last garbage drive that they let them have that score, I think Indiana had less than 70 yards total offense.
Yeah.
Running game was non-existent. I think they didn't even have 40 yards in rushing if you take out those two drives. And they shut them down. They completely shut them down. And I think the difference is Ohio State is used to the high pressure big games. They've been for over a decade.
Yeah. Well, and Indiana is a Cinderella story, right? I mean, they came from the depths of terribleness record-wise over the last decade, and to be that strong, to have that good of a record, but yeah, you got to face competition too. So if they were to face Oregon, it would have been the same thing. I think Penn State probably would have been a closer game, but I think Penn State would win because Penn State is used to playing Ohio State and Michigan when they're at their top, Right. And, Penn State just seems to falter towards the end of the game where that is the difference between that program and those other programs. Yeah. I agree. It's going to be
tier of elite.
It's going to be
not elite.
It'll be an interesting. Well, I think that's why the 12 teams will be interesting too, because now it does kind of pacify, right? Letting maybe some of these non-elite teams get in, which is good for football probably, and it's good for money for the schools without a doubt, and the NCAA.
Yep. If UNLV wins their next game and they beat Boise State in the Mountain West, they will actually be in the football playoff, which is shocking.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I love a little running Rebels, and it's only because back in the basketball days in the 90s, late 80s, 90s, I was a running Rebel guy.
About them getting rid of our Tark the Shark. That was...
I know.
Terrible.
And I remember wearing tank tops with running Rebels, and I was from... I remember spring break. I was wearing tank tops in Mexico. That was running Rebels, baby. And I had no affiliation with Las Vegas. I just happened to like the attitude and the way those dudes got plated up.
We had Larry Johnson, Grandmama, and Stacey Ogman. They're probably some of next to the Fab Five. I would say probably one of the best college basketball teams ever.
They're fun as hell to watch. Yeah.
And had they not, if the NCAA didn't hit UNLV so bad with sanctions and basically kill their program, it would have been on to be like how Duke was in North Carolina. And Arcanian was up there with, he wanted Coach K and, to really give him his props, and they did after a while. Canyon was a great. He had a chew on his towel. I mean, they called him Mark the Shark. They had a shark mascot walking around. I mean, I remember it. I grew up here, so that when they won the national championship, they had a parade for him. And then the next year, which is what caused them, because they said it was betting, and you know who turned him in? It was the actual president of the college, because he was upset that Tarkanian was more popular than he was. I'm like, of course he did.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
So
That's
he
crazy.
basically handed him in on a silver platter to the NCAA and to help get him out. And so upset because, you know, he had people like Gary Payton, who was going to commit to go to UNLV. The glove. I mean, come on. These are NBA Hall of Famers that would have gone to our school. So upsetting.
What a shitty thing to do.
Now look, players are getting paid and doing all the stuff that they used to shut down programs for years ago.
Right.
And it's like now, now it's legal.
Come full flip 180.
Yep.
Well, I want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving, including you, my friend. So enjoy.
Happy Thanksgiving. Have fun in Texas.
I will. Thank you so much. I'm going to go get back down with the family, and I appreciate you, and I enjoy doing this show. So I hope everybody enjoys watching us as well.
Yep. And we'll talk to you guys next week.
All right.